Hello and good afternoon, Xbox Nation. Welcome to this week's new episode of X Vlog Live. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and of course, I'm here with the one half of what makes this show amazing each and every Thursday. C Money, my brother. How you feeling? Welcome back, dude.
Happy Halloween, man. Happy Halloween. Feeling good, man. Feeling good. Great to be here. Another Thursday. We don't have a show today because we're doing trick or treating, so
Right.
it's good to get one in,
It's good sometimes just to take the day, right? Like
Yeah, for sure.
you miss it, but it's nice to kind of not have to do something. So that's gonna be cool. What are the kids' costumes?
Oh man. That's a lot of Mama Duke's specialty, but I know we have one of them is the mini witch, Minnie Mouse, her witch costume.
Oh, that's
We
cool.
got Isabella from Encanto. I think
Nice.
my little one is gonna be Gecko from PJ Mask.
Yes,
I
yes,
think
yes,
that's
yes,
the name
yes.
of the show.
Mhm.
My oldest son is John Wick,
Oh,
dressed
that
in
is
black in
freaking
the suit.
awesome,
So
dude.
so yeah, they're going, and then I think my youngest daughter is Cinderella. I think my oldest daughter is trying to be too cool for school, so we'll see. I don't know
They
exactly
get
what
like
she's
that,
doing.
right? I'm hoping Tyler never does that. I mean, I never was too cool for school. I listen. I trick or treated like until I was like 16. And I don't care, man. I was like, this is free candy. I don't give a shit, but it's fine. It's fine. But
Yeah,
listen,
man.
ladies and gentlemen, for the next 70 minutes, C Money and I are going to talk about some really big Call of Duty numbers. Some numbers came out from Microsoft. Now, again, you might have heard some of the conversation that we had last night on Primetime Gaming with myself, Hargeet Chani, Kay Asante, and of course, the returning prodigal son himself, OBM. But we have some different conversations because, as a police officer, I feel the need to potentially see money fill out a missing persons report for the people over at that particular site that maybe we didn't even mention them. Maybe we don't even mention. You know what? Maybe we will. But there was a story last week that you and I talked about specifically about how Call of Duty was going to make more money. I'm going to say their name, GI.biz. I can't find them anywhere on the internet. They seem to have gone into witness protection or they're being held against their will for ransom. I don't
Oh shit.
know. Because last week, if I recall correctly, a very pointed opinion piece that turned into as a matter of fact, kind of conversation that somehow 730 was greater than 70 and that PlayStation was going to be in the black as opposed to Xbox giving the game away for free, potentially being in the red with Xbox Game Pass. So we have some stats, but we're going to hold off on all of that conversation because you know what I want to do? I want to have some fun and I want to talk about the game itself. Now, C Money is going to attack it from the single player campaign aspect, which I have yet to play. Now, this morning, I got into the winner circle 2 more times, and I just hit level 49, which means that I am 6 levels away from prestiging. So I said, you know what? I am not going to touch the single player campaign until I at least prestige for the first time in potentially a decade, maybe even more than that. Because the last time I prestige was, I think, Modern Warfare 2 on the Xbox 360. That's when I played Call of Duty
Oh that.
like legitimate, and it's been a long time. Well, here we are, 2024, and I want to attack it from, from the multiplayer, which again for me is not a thing. Like it's just not a thing. I like certain multiplayers. I've never been into Call of Duty, and I just can't stop. It is just so good. It's so fast. It's so fun. But you know what? I do want to go first to see Money because we were having a conversation in the green room, and some of his points of contention got me really high. Like I just want a prestige now to get into the single player because all I keep hearing from you, from Kay Asante, from so many people that it is legit the best one yet. Let's talk about it, man.
No, for sure, for sure. Yeah, so this campaign, honestly, it's I mean, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. we beat it. We actually have a review going out probably a little later today.
Nice.
But yeah, so we did the campaign, and I gotta tell you, man, for 100% without a shadow of doubt, for me, easy, the best Call of Duty campaign. But honestly, it even goes beyond that. Like, Doodle and I, we beat the campaign, she beat it, I beat it, and we were talking about it. And like this is seriously not just the best Call of Duty campaign, but one of the best just campaigns in general. Like just one of the best single player experiences in a game that we've had. It really reminds me of how Titanfall 2, right, had like this phenomenal campaign, and people were like, oh my god, like it's way beyond what the expectations were. It's not just like this military shooter campaign, or it has more depth to it. This one, honestly, it's phenomenal. They did things in this game that I 100% would have never, you know, thought that they were gonna do. And they had new twists on things that, stuff that like, man, you remember what's that freaking old game that was that scary game? Condemned,
Okay, yes.
right? Okay. So, and that there's one moment in Condemned that everybody like universally agrees was the creepiest shit ever, and that's when you're in that space with the mannequins, right? It's like
Dude, the department
like
store to this
what the
day
is
is
happening?
one of the best, most scariest parts in gaming. They need to remake both of those games.
Bro, I could tell you right now that this campaign shits on that moment. Like that moment is like you might as well be sending your kid to preschool playing that moment compared to the version and the stuff that they do in this. Holy hell. It's just so it's like I don't want to spoil it for anybody, so it's kind of difficult to talk about 100%. But I would just say like your expectations for what this game is in the single player campaign um are like there's no way you can be prepared for it. It's really that good.
I love it.
It's so very good, especially if you just go in and expecting another Call of Duty, you know what I'm saying, campaign, right? And Call of Duties have always been good, right? They tell good you know, military campaigns, right? They're good. I mean, obviously we had like for me, like I think of like the best one, the most impactful one of all the Call of Duties before this one. Um was the Modern Warfare 4, right? So like the first one that they Modern Warfare 4, no, Modern Warfare was that Modern Warfare 1? I don't know. I
Uh,
think it was Modern Warfare 1, the first one, the first Modern Warfare back on 360 that had that moment in the game where that twist that you didn't see coming that you never
yeah.
expected, right? Like that one. Like since then, I don't think anything has been that uh like that well done for me. And this is tops that for me for sure. Easy. Definitely my favorite uh Call of Duty for sure. And again, even one of my favorite campaigns just in general. Like if I look back at like what I've played um outside of Halo and maybe Hellblade 2, um this is definitely up there as one of my favorite campaigns that I've played. It's just so good, man. It's so good. And if we had like a spoiler cast, that we can go in and just kind of go crazy with, that would be fun. But outside of that, you can't go too crazy because it's just so good. And I don't want to spoil it. It's really worth not being spoiled and just going in and enjoying the campaign. You're gonna love it. Once you get
Yeah,
to it, it's
I
gonna
mean,
be
again,
crazy.
it's great points of view, and it makes me even more hyped to play it because I did hear, and again, I haven't really read any spoilers. I'm not that I don't need to know to enjoy the game. If it would have gotten spoiled, whatever. I'm still gonna play through it, but I'm glad that it hasn't been spoiled. I've heard
Yeah.
some things, some wild things actually happened during this, and I'm here for it. Again, we've played tons of Call of Duties before. This is something apparently, again, based on your your playtime and Kay's playtime and a few other people that I've talked to. it is honestly the best in years. I mean, I've seen it even written by some of the media that it's the best at least minimum decade. So that's a really big deal. For me, I kind of want to just look at this from the multiplayer part. But look, I'll say this. I don't play Call of Duty multiplayer, as you know. I've talked about it before. I normally I haven't played in years. I've dabbled in it, sure. I've played a little bit of zombies. I've played a little bit of. I've tried Warzone once or twice. Again, that's just not my bag because I don't really like the one versus everybody. I like the team aspect of it. But something about the beta for me just grabbed me, and it would refuse to let go. And when obviously after playing the beta 2 weekends in a row, I was like, yeah, I'm getting down. And for the first time in like forever, I actually said I'm gonna go right to multiplayer and skip on hold off until I at least prestige once, and I'm close. So when I prestige
Nice.
before the weekend, I'm gonna then jump into the single player, and I'm gonna play it on hardened. I usually play it right under the level of the hardest difficulty, and I'll die 500 times. But I like getting the achievements for that. And then what I will attempt to do is once I know the boards, I will then try and go back in and beat it on the hardest difficulty. I've done that with all of the Call of Duties. I really enjoy doing that. But for me, multiplayer is so fast, and I mean, again, just look at the screen. Like this is not from the beta. This is just in the last couple of days I recorded some footage. Kill and Confirm, one of my favorites. I absolutely love it. I love the fact that you got to go around and and snatch up their dog tags and potentially save your teammates' dog tags from these from the other players. It's just Call of Duty at its absolute best, and it's so freaking quick. Like you die and you get right back into the action. It's unbelievable how fast it is. And I'm going to say this. I never thought, because when I first saw the Omni movement, I'm like, this is kind of stupid. Like this, everyone's going to be diving around. Can you really get? I have gotten kills doing Max Payne stuff like crazy. Now, I don't.
Yes.
I do see people jumping around like jackrabbits, which I think is dumb. And they somehow are getting kills doing that. That's like a thing, which
They always did that. I was
yeah,
like, that's always been a thing.
The jumping jackrabbits to get the kills is fine, but I am going to say it is pretty freaking cool. Even if you get killed by watching someone like dive past the door and you're kind of running up and they gun you down, you're like, you POS, but that was dope. I'm not going to front. So the Omni movement here, look, I'll say this. I don't think they could never, ever not have it again. Like,
it can't go back.
They can't.
No Call of Duty can't. Like, if another Call of Duty comes out and they're like, we're going to do our own thing and we don't want to use their version of it, they're fucked. Because this is definitely a whole different league of movement. Nothing has ever felt so good. Honestly, it ruins a lot of other games for me as far as first-person shooters are concerned, because it's just like, why can't I just dive that way? I don't want to turn. I just want to dive that way and shoot some people. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to peek around the corner. All right. I want to do this like an action movie.
This is run and gun. And I'll say this. The one thing that you will learn is in some instances, I find myself sneaking, right? But the minute you start to stagnate and stand still is when you die. Like you have to literally run and gun. Sure. Again, some of the snipers out there, and again, shout out to Smokey. He says bunny hoppers are among the worst people in the world. They have a special place in hell.
They are. As soon as I see one doing that, I'm like, you know what? Somebody else can go shoot you. I'm going away. Leave me alone. Get away from me.
The bunny hoppers are pretty crazy. Like, and they hop here, there, and everywhere. Good for them. Good for them. But I am going to say that we're going to get into the whole Game Pass element of it, because obviously it's big for Game Pass. How big, we don't know yet, but we have some numbers, we have some stats, we have some commentary. Yeah, it did big. And actually, I think it was Kay Asante that said it last night. No, I hope I didn't get it wrong. He said that when the bigs are talking about it, that means that it did numbers. Because
Oh yeah.
obviously, when Amy Hood and Satya Nadella are talking about these numbers, people are stopping to listen. Who are those people? The investors. So they can't make a mistake. They can't lie about it, because then obviously that's trouble and it's less confidence. And they don't do that. They can't do that legally. They have to legitimately talk about what's happening and the legitimate numbers. And if they're
Fergie
talking
said
about,
that was him who
yes,
said that.
yeah. Okay. So all
Fergie.
right. So there you go. But I mean that is honestly a big deal. But I'm going to say this: if you have Game Pass, and we're going to get in some of those numbers now, which are just staggering. See, you should at least give it a shot. Because again, I had stepped away for
So much. You
years,
have to,
for
for sure.
years, and you should. Again, I'm a campaign first dude, not for this one. Now I'm sure I'm going to run through the campaign at least two. I usually go 2 or 3 times through, because I love Call of Duty and I love the big, Jerry Bruckheimer kind of action that you get with them. And this one is apparently not going to disappoint. So I'm probably going to run through it. Like I said, I'll run through the second hardest level at first, try to beat it on the hardest level to get the achievement, and then just for fun, kind of just to enjoy my time with it, I drop it to easy and I just run through the levels, because I've already beaten it twice. But you should at least give the multiplayer a shot. Like if you're a person like me that normally stays away from the multiplayer because it's toxic or whatever, word of advice: mute everybody, play with randos. Now, I played with the community, quite a few people, as a matter of fact. But when you just want to get your rank on and you don't want to hear any of the rhetoric, and again, a lot of these are kids, so they're going to say some really heinous stuff. I don't hear anyone. I mute everybody on my team and on the other team. I don't hear anything, and I just play. And if you want to do that and you have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you should at least give it a shot. Because again, it's no cost to you. You don't have to buy the Battle Pass, which comes out on the 14th. You don't have to buy the Endowments Pack, which I think everyone should, because there's a $20 pack that is the entire monies from it go to charity, goes to our veterans on helping them find jobs when they get out of the military. And again, I'm getting goosebumps on it because I'm ex-military as well. Support your military guys and your men and women. You should. And this is a $20 pack. You get some really cool shit in there, and it's only $20, and the whole $20 goes to charity. So if you want to kind of give back, like I enjoy doing, Mrs. Boom and I enjoy doing, spend the $20. It's cool. You get some really cool. You get a new operator. You get a bunch of new weapons. You get a bunch of new skins. You get XP for 1 hour for both your character, just for your regular, level up as your XP, and as well as an hour XP for weapon. Yeah. So drop the $20 if you have it. If you don't have it, I mean, obviously, please don't rob Peter to pay Paul. But it's one of the things that I think that that Call of Duty specifically does, and it's really cool, and no one really talks about it. And I think more people should know about it. So again, if you go into, I mean, there's some flash screens for it. Don't get offended. They're trying to sell it because they want to get money for veterans. You press B and close out of it. But if you have this $20, please support your veterans. It is a big deal. But I want to stop it there because I want to get into some stats now. Before we get into actual numbers, I got to shout out Clute on Twitter. Obviously, he is Abdel114 in the chat. He put out a pretty damn good beefy tweet. And I sent this to C, and C is like, yeah, we should definitely talk about this, because the rhetoric around Call of Duty for Xbox and Xbox Game Pass from the gaming media has been nothing short of just gross. It's almost that they want this to fail. They want Xbox to fail. They want Game Pass to fail. And somehow, some way, they want a lot of these journos want to go back to the way it used to be 10, 15, 20 years ago, even if they're even that freaking old. They want to buy their console for $500+. They want to buy their subscription service, get nothing for it, get overcharged. I'm talking about PlayStation. I'm looking at you for $180 a year. And they want to pay $76.43. And some in the community are willing to pay $100 for the next God of War because they pay for quality. Well, I'm sorry to tell you that's not the way the world works. The world works as a consumer. You should want better for you. And Xbox Game Pass has delivered that in spades. And again, shocking, folks, shocking that it actually made money. We're going to get into some of those stats that are going to blow your wigs right off. Yes, Game Pass is getting a ton of new subscribers. Xbox is making a bunch of money. PlayStation is selling a bunch of games. Steam is selling a bunch of games. And again, apparently, according to some C-Money, it's free on Xbox. Well, Clute said this. He says, before, Call of Duty is never coming to Xbox Game Pass. They're losing. They'll lose so much money. It's such a big deal. It's never happening. After, Call of Duty and Xbox Game Pass is not going to move the needle. It's not that big of a deal. People are still going to buy it on PS5. Y'all are capping. Now, I don't know where he quoted this from, but I think I do. And again, we don't do names here. So just imagine the biggest PlayStation guy or gal that says outlandish things. It might be them. Well, this
it was
is
definitely a pony who literally said, I'm not going to play the game because Xbox owns them now.
Yes.
And
yeah. I've seen that.
Played the beta, talked crap about the beta, and then now literally came out and said that Call of Duty is the best Xbox game that they've ever made.
Well, you know what? Look, I know there's been some talk about Xbox buying Activision, and that's why they have a win. I said this the other day, and I want to reiterate. If Concord, which was a studio that was purchased by PlayStation, would have put out a banger, and Concord would have been one of those genre-changing type of games, all we would have heard, is how PlayStation made the greatest investment, and this was a big win for them. But because it failed, crickets. So I want people to keep that in mind when the next time you see someone actually say online, "Oh, it's because they bought them." Yes, companies buy other companies because they believe that they can make money on the IP that they're buying. They bought Concord and failed. Xbox bought Call of Duty and won. It's a small tangent, but just keep that in mind because that's one of the rhetorics going around. But going back to Clute's tweet, he has taken a picture of Tom Warren's post. Tom Warren of The Verge has been out there, putting out the numbers. And he said, and I quote, and this is coming directly from Tom Warren's tweet, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella says, last week's launch of Black Ops 6 was the biggest Call of Duty release ever, setting a record for day one players as well as Game Pass subscriber add-on on launch day. Unit sales, this is where it gets good, folks, on PlayStation and Steam were also up over 60% year over year. Let that sink in for a second.
More ponies than ever decided to take the plunge.
I mean, we got some other stats here that, again, I want to thank Ecstasies who put this list together. It's staggering. It's a lot of big Xbox only information. We're going to get to that in a second, but let's talk about Clute's tweet because I really do think that there is something to talk about here where he simply puts it in a timeline where Call of Duty is never coming to Xbox Game Pass. They can't afford it. Then Call of Duty and Game Pass is not even going to move the needle. No one's going to care. People are still going to buy on PlayStation. And then boom, here are these stats. I don't think people understand how big of a deal this is for Call of Duty, but more importantly, Xbox and Microsoft. Because again, folks, every time they make $1 billion, I get nothing from it. I don't give a shit. I'm here as a consumer first.
Yes, we do, Boom. Yes, we do. Boom,
Well,
we get something from it. All right. Listen, I know the ponies put this rhetoric
I know where you're
out
going with this,
here,
but please go
and
ahead.
we try to be nice and say, I don't care if they make money at Microsoft because I don't get it. Fudge. See that? See
Yeah,
how I turned that in? I did
I like
not
that.
hit the other side. Fudge that noise. I absolutely love every mother effing penny that Microsoft makes, because all that does is give me more and more and more into my Game Pass. Okay. So, as much as these people out here want to be fake and talking all this nonsense about, oh, why do you care what the company makes? I care greatly what Microsoft makes. I know that you guys don't, but maybe you should. But clearly, because they're not making enough, you guys are not getting much, right? So maybe you should
Great point.
start caring about what they're making, because they're not making much. You know what I'm saying? We're on this side, we are. And clearly, every time we have another show, and unlike you guys on that side of the fence, it's not once or twice a year. Every time we get a new show, we get new games announced coming into our Game Pass service day and date.
Yeah, great point,
Brand
dude.
new games.
Great point.
Brand new
Yeah.
games. That is nonstop. If new games are coming out, that means that's new investment on Microsoft's part. And how do they decide how much is okay to invest? By how much they're making, baby. That is correct. The more they make, the more they're willing to go ahead and invest, right? It's the same thing that PlayStation does. The more they make, the more they're willing to invest.
Yeah. No, that's
Unfortunately,
a great
what we
point.
have seen is that
Great point.
they've been making less. So they've been investing less. It is seen on a daily basis that we are getting the benefits of what Microsoft makes. They've shown it to us. It's nonstop, right? We
Yeah.
heard, I don't know if you guys, read the thing, but they are continuing to invest.
Yeah.
And our boy Satya in his letter said, new studios. He said it's coming. They're
Yes.
gonna invest in more. They're investing in more to give us more. Right? Again, we're not the same. And again, obviously, that's if you're a Game Pass subscriber. If you are not a Game Pass subscriber, then maybe, yeah, you are the same as a pony. I'm not calling you a pony. I'm just saying you're
Right.
in
No,
the
no,
same
I
boat
see what
as
you're doing
them,
there. Yeah, absolutely.
because you got to pay every time a game comes out, right? So if Microsoft buys another studio, there's no difference to you, because you still have to buy the game that they're releasing, right?
Yes.
So that's a personal choice, and I understand that. Fine. But for everybody who is on Game Pass, for the 35 plus million of us, yeah, it's,
and it might be
every
40
time
now.
they buy some, it might be 40. I'm lowballing it.
It might be
I'm
40 now,
lowballing
dude. Yeah.
But every time Xbox makes an acquisition, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, however many games that acquisition normally makes, that company normally makes, that's all how many less games I have to buy in order to enjoy those games. So yes, when Microsoft acquires, I could give 3 craps about, consolidation means nothing to me. All it means to me is I consolidate into my Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? No more needing to spend outside of there. I get to bring it in. And frankly, that's all I care about. I don't care about the noise. I don't care about the nonsense. I don't care about the pony rhetoric. They can say what they want. We game like gods over here on Xbox. Okay?
Well, you're eating well. I mean, and that's and one of the things that this is obviously we're going to get into some other stats, but I think the way that this could be best explained, and I don't think I could do a better job than what C just put down, is that with your subscription, which is $20, and I keep saying this, and I want people to be better consumers. If you pay the $20 and you have it on a card that has no balance and it just charges and you just pay it like some people do, that's freaking awesome, right? But if you are a gamer that has to make sure that things are at the household taken care of, and maybe the $20 is, listen, I know it's people gonna be like, oh, it's only $20. For you, it might be only $20, but not for the guy next to you or the girl sitting on the left of you. That $20 might actually mean whether or not they eat. So do not be disrespectful and do not watch other people's pockets. $20 is still $20 in 2024. And I always say, please, for the love of Joe, go to CD Keys and look. There are worldwide codes there. There are US only codes there. I picked up one. I think it was, I talked about it last week. I topped off because I had a 3-month gap. Now I'm paid up right now till 2027, October 5th. Right?
Hold on, you didn't pay up 20 years?
No, I didn't pay up 20 years. I did not do that. I paid up to 3 years.
What a that white powder must be cheap out in these streets, bro.
It is something.
To do that is PlayStation's not even likely to be in existence in 20 years. Why would you subscribe for so long?
I mean, unless they have spendable money. I mean, listen, if you're loaded like that, brother, you can always I'll give you my bank account, drop it in there. I'll give you the router number and everything. It's fine. But yeah, look,
I don't even think that a loaded person wouldn't do that.
No,
understand.
That's
rich
broke
people
person
mentality.
Don't spend, and
no,
rich people. You know what the trick is, folks? And I'll never be one of them. I just won't, because I like stuff. Like I like toys and I like models and I like multiple consoles and I like eating out every other day because we have a mom and pop place named SHATTERS that even during the pandemic we ordered 3 times a week. Not because we don't want to cook, it's we like supporting the mom and pop place, and it's small. Like it's so small that you would probably miss it. So we probably spend about $60 or $70 on like homemade food, except it's just takeout. And we do that. And that's why I'm never going to be rich, because rich people, here's the trick, folks. And I know the answer, and I'll never be rich. Short arms and very deep pockets. Remember that trick. If you want to be rich, have short arms like a Tyrannosaurus that you're stuck like this, and have your wallet that you can't reach because it's by your sock. That's how you're going to stay rich. But I'll never be that way. But I want to talk about, and again, shout out to Post Up, who actually posted this, no pun intended. And again, this comes the way of Ecstasies. Now, Ecstasies, again, I talk about him all the time. He's been on the show 3 or 4 times. Great dude. He's an amazing podcaster from Spain. Gotta get him back on. We talk in DMs, on not as often as I would like, but he is a really good dude. So he put out some Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Xbox stats. These are just for Xbox. So I'm going to bring it up. Okay. Now, we know that this is making numbers for Xbox. Some of the things here, though, it gets really interesting. So, according to Ecstasies, he says this: speaking to sources familiar with Activision, I have been able to learn and share with you that Black Ops 6 is the best performing Call of Duty on Xbox in the last at least 10 years. Check this out. Just over half of Black Ops 6 console players played it on Xbox, making it the first Call of Duty most played on Xbox over PlayStation. Think about that for a second. Here's another stat. Now, we know console Xbox Game Pass is making numbers because Satya Nadella talked about it. Here's another stat. On PC, over half of the players played it via Xbox Game Pass, and record 1-day subscribers for PC Game Pass as well as console. Check this out. Last piece of information.
That's what we knew.
Yes, he goes. More info is going to be coming in his next video on the channel, and I imagine that throughout this week, Activision will publish official data according to what they are telling me. So by week's end, which of course we're at Thursday, it's Halloween. Tomorrow is Friday. Maybe it lands tomorrow, maybe it lands early next week, but according to Ecstasy's, more stats about the monies being made and the players actually playing the game will be coming out in the coming days. See, these are just Xbox stats. And I think
Yeah.
that there are a couple of highlights here. The record day one subscribers on PC Game Pass is huge because we've seen it in the last couple of months. I'd even say the last year that it has been PC Game Pass has been getting steam. It has been growing and growing and growing. And even though it's not console, right? Because we know that day one console, most ever, for just like Starfield. I told you they were going to blow the Starfield numbers out the water. That has happened on console. Now we have confirmation that has happened on PC. Game Pass is undeniable. See, let's talk about it.
Facts. Yeah, this is I mean, it's a new world, right? It's a new world. And I think we're starting to see the real shift with Xbox, not the narrative out here with the ponies and the pony media and all that stuff. We're talking about the real shift where you look at games like Metaphor, right? That traditionally would have been like something that uh would be marketed by another team, but Sony marketed a bunch of their games and they never blew up. And then Xbox gets the marketing for them and it blows up, right? They did the same thing with Persona 3 Reload, right? Now Xbox has Call of Duty back, right? It's back home. Even the marketing team and the people higher up, right? It's always now it's back home, right? And again, if we think about Call of Duty, numbers have actually been going down for the most part up until this moment. Again, being marketed by PlayStation all those years, you know, essentially Call of Duty, yes, while still being big as far as, always the most money in any given year, right? It was always the biggest game. Like as far as like the reception of it has, I mean, declined over time, right? And then magically, I don't know, I don't know, magically, Xbox gets it back, right? Xbox ramps up the marketing like never before. Xbox puts the game in Game Pass, and magically, it's still the most successful game that they've ever done. Is bringing in more players. They're spending more money. Like this is showing you the reality of how powerful it is, how marketing has such a big place in gaming, right? Where as soon as this shift took place, look at what's happened to this game. This game is like the zeitgeist of Call of Duty right now
Everybody's talking
has
about it, dude.
everybody remember, like everybody has been jaded about Call of Duty, right? Only the casuals play. Remember? We talk
Yes.
all the way up to this point. It's always
Yes.
the casuals play Call of Duty. It's the
The
casuals. I've seen
normies.
everybody playing Call of Duty. Everybody is sweating Call of Duty. Yo, the ponies that have gone so far to try to downplay this game, they're not even being taken seriously. Like I see like stupid things that have said and nobody's moving it around. It's not like they're not spreading because the overwhelming positivity of this game is wild, right? Like this is a whole new level. It's a whole new place for this game. And again, it's proving out why Xbox is doing what they're doing and why they're not sitting here crying over the noise that people are making when they're talking about where they put their games and things like that. Because at the end of the day, Xbox knows that the game has to shine first and foremost, right? The game has to shine first and foremost. And not only is this game getting buzz, right? Because of how well it was marketed and all that stuff. Understand, putting this game in Game Pass, as great as it is right now, it could have been a death sentence if the game wasn't great, because a lot more people were going to be able to get their hands on it. And if they weren't happy with the game, a lot more people were going to be out there making noise about how bad this game was. But because it is in the hands of so many other people who wouldn't normally go out there and talk about this game, because it is in Game Pass and the game is phenomenal. It's in a whole nother stratosphere of quality that honestly, I thought last year's game was really good and it got slandered like crazy. This is so much better than last year's game.
Leaps
It's
and
not
freaking
even funny.
bounds, bro.
And again,
Yeah,
I enjoyed last year's game.
me too.
This is
I
a
loved it.
whole nother level, bro.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother level. And I gotta tell you, taking you as much as you guys might think that 62 million boxes is exciting to have, right? We know for a fact that that's not 62 million of the most engaged players. But you know what Xbox has? Xbox has 35 million plus of the most engaged players, because those are the people who every month are saying, I'm keeping a subscription to Game Pass because I love games, right? And I want to be there. And when they go ahead, and they might not be the hardcore, but when they go ahead and get to experience a game like this, and then they go to their circle of friends who may be also not the most hardcore, but they get to say, oh my God, I played this game. It's so amazing. You should go get it. They either go buy it or they go subscribe, right? Like that is the power of what Game Pass is doing. And you already see the biggest launch of Call of Duty in 10 years.
I have
plus.
a thought and a theory. I'm going to get to it in a second.
Hit it, bro.
Okay.
Hit it, bro.
So, do you see the bunny hop guy that I killed?
I know. Goddamn.
That mother got me like 3 or 4 times hopping like that. Anyway, here's my thought and theory based on something you just said. Players are going to subscribe to Game Pass and they're going to play this game. They're going to be like, oh my God, it's so amazing. This is where the rubber hits the road. And I'm going to tell you why I think we're onto something here. See, it starts with one, right? Look, if you look at PlayStation 4, now I know a lot of people hate when I talk about PlayStation, but you got to tip the hat when the conversation goes that way. 2018, 2019, and 2020 were back-to-back great years for PlayStation and its gamers. I was one of them. I played and bought every one of those single-player games. Even though it may not be for you, it's for me, right? So what am I talking about? Go back to 2018, where they had God of War and Spider-Man. Now, if you are finding PlayStation for the first time, you're like, whoa, these games are freaking amazing. What's next? And you're looking around the corner for what game is next. Now I'm going to transition to Xbox Game Pass. Take Call of Duty Black Ops. You are just subscribing. You've heard of Game Pass. You were not too much into it. You're a normie. You don't know about Game Pass. Like, what is this Game Pass? Is it like Hulu? Is it like Netflix? You know, right? And then you go and you play this I even dare say it's a quadruple A experience.
It's truly next level.
You're getting both sides of the coin. You're getting multiplayer. You're getting single player. You don't have to invest anything.
And PvE.
PvP.
And PvE.
Yeah.
Right. This is to be clear, Call of Duty is the only game on Halo's level. Yes. Where they're the only ones who come out here who deliver banger campaign and then banger multiplayer. Right. So go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I mean, again, a great addition to the conversation. But so they play this game and they're like, oh my God, I haven't played Call of Duty since whenever. And this is amazing. The graphics are tight. No bugs. Right now, I've seen some people have some. I haven't come across any, but there's been no major reports of bugs, both multiplayer and single player. It's ultimately launched at almost perfect, right? So it's in the service. You're like, wait a second. I just paid $20 and I got this? What else do they have? And you start scrolling and you're like, are you kidding me? Gears, Forza, Halo, Persona 3 Reloaded. You start looking at the games and you're like, this can't be right. There's no freaking way. And then you start looking and saying, wait a second, what else is coming out? Indiana Jones, Flight Simulator, right? They go back and they play Hellblade 2. Like, oh, I remember Hellblade on the first on PlayStation 4. There was a second one. Let me check it out. What are my eyes seeing? So it's almost like a gateway drug kind of a thing. And this is how you do it. And I have a second piece of the conversation that was not originally planned, but you talked about something that Satya Nadella said about other studios. And I want to make that a conversation because I personally think, see money, that Call of Duty's success, not just on Xbox Game Pass, no, the success is sales on Steam, sales on PS5 and PS4 up 60% year over year on both platforms when the game is available for quote unquote free in Xbox Game Pass. Think about that for a second. And where we're going to go with this is I honestly think this success sets them up that as soon as they're done with the FTC, and remember, this is just an opinion, and I'm not doing it as a matter of fact. This is my thought and theory. I think that they are going to try and acquire Take-Two. And here's why. Here is why I think they're going to go into and try. They're very good friends, both Take-Two and Microsoft. And we understand that there is something about selling your company for $40+ billion, because that's what it would be. It would not be as much as the Activision Blizzard King one. It'd literally be at least, I think, about half, maybe not even half. But let's just say for shits and giggles, see, it's 40 billion. It's still half of the near 80, the 80 billion after all the handshaking deals that went on. Right. So they spent 69, and there's it's always a little bit more
like
on the back
75,
end.
I
Like
think
75, 76. So let's just say, it's closer to 80. It's going to be a little more than half of what they would what it would cost them to buy Take-Two. Why do you buy Take-Two? Grand Theft Auto, not to make it exclusive. You're going to put that on every freaking device, whether it be cloud, handheld, your refrigerator, your PC, does not matter. They're going to put it here, there, and everywhere. The difference here is the success for Xbox Game Pass PC, Xbox Game Pass console, plus it's selling here, there, and everywhere. That's exactly what would happen to Grand Theft Auto. And I'm not saying it's going to happen for Grand Theft Auto 6, because I don't think the sale it's going to take years, just like this one took, Grand Theft Auto 7 or whatever they're going to do on the back end. But I personally think, based on Satya Nadella's conversation that he had in the notes that you talked about, and the success of this, and again, not simply the success for Xbox, the success everywhere, PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, especially on the Xbox services, is why they're going to acquire something big. And I think it's going to be Take-Two. Let's get your thoughts.
I mean, we've been beating this drum over on our channel for a long time. We think the biggest guide for basically Microsoft's intentions, I think, is when you see the weekly top played games. I think when you look at that list of the weekly top played games, you see where Microsoft wants to be, right? Microsoft owns the number one, sometimes number two when Fortnite boosts up, right? But they own the number one slot. But one game that's always there, NBA 2K, right? Top 10, NBA 2K is always there. That's one that they get to own. And then another one that's been out for a billion years,
over a decade,
Grand Theft Auto.
Yes, Grand Theft Auto 5 came out in 2013? Yeah, I think 2013 on the Xbox 360. Yes, so 2013 it comes out, and we're talking about this year. It's freaking ridiculous. It's still in.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's over 11 years, right? So people are playing it nonstop, right? And that is what they want, right?
What about
they
Red Dead
want
Redemption?
Games. Bro, don't even say that, because I love Red Dead Redemption. But that's what it is, right? And guess what? Like, understand that is not, see, like, you think of, man, Grand Theft Auto so far away, man, it'll be Grand Theft Auto 7. Yeah, but it's not that far away from the next Red Dead, right? The next
Yes.
Red Dead is, 3 or 4 years away after Grand Theft Auto comes out, maybe 5, but still is not the next Grand Theft. There's still can you imagine to be able to say Red Dead Redemption 3 or whatever the hell it is that they're making is day and date in Game Pass? Come on, man. That's equally crazy. But not only that, man, Take-Two owns a lot of fantastic IP
Dude,
that
they
if they were
own
going in day and
BioShock.
date, bro, next BioShock, I'm pretty sure they're doing Judas. You have Borderlands 4 that was already announced.
Yep.
Right? What a perfect game for Game Pass to have a multiplayer game that comes out. A huge game like that, oh my god. It changes everything. It
Yeah.
changes everything for those games, right? That's just the reality of what it is. So, I mean, you gotta look at it for what's gonna benefit them. Again, we're not talking about exclusive plays, right? Like that is not the focus, right? That is not the focus. What's focus is our true exclusive, the thing that ultimately, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters to us gamers who are invested, unlike most other people, is if you're a Game Pass subscriber, right? If you're that invested that you're a Game Pass subscriber, that is what this does for you. It gives you more and more day one into Game Pass. That is the reality of what it is. And for us, I mean, that's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And for Microsoft, they want to own the zeitgeist, right?
Yes.
They want to force you to know their name. Right now, they're doing it softly. Over time, you will see a bigger and bigger integration with these studios and Xbox being into the actual, like, we know one of the rumors was that they were going to put Master Chief in Modern Warfare 3, right? But they went ahead, held off, and it
Dude,
got pushed back to
that's
be
coming to
in Black
14,
Ops
brother.
6.
I know it. I
Come
feel
on,
it
man.
in my
Oh man, if it comes
guts.
to 14th, I'll fucking cry. Oh my god, I'll be so happy. Um, but that's the reality, right? They're going to start integrating more and more into their IP to spread their other IP, right? It's just what it is, man. It's just what it is. And at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want successful games because successful games stick around longer. Successful games get sequels. Successful games get more investment put into them. Like, that's what we want, man. That's what we want. And honestly, over on Xbox side of things, that's what we're seeing. I know the parts of the industry that hate on what Xbox is doing is those are the people who are not getting the Game Pass bag, who are not being offered the Game Pass bag, or their games are not big enough to make people want to play it, or not exciting enough to make people want to spend their money on those games outside of Game Pass, right? And sure, back in the day when there was no Game Pass, games could trick you into thinking that they were better than they are, or whatever. Maybe a reviewer gives it a decent score, then you go and you're like, oh man, I just spent money on this, I don't like it, right? All these little games, they were able to just kind of come out and convince people to give them their money. Now it's harder, right? Now it's harder to get the money because you have Game Pass out there that's causing people to look at their investment in gaming differently. And instead of being forced to only buy 1 or 2 games a year because that's all you can do, you go ahead and you spend your monthly dollars, and you go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to be selective with what I pay for outside of the service. Now, we do know for a fact that people who have Game Pass tend to spend more money on gaming overall anyway, which is a huge thing, right? Which means that they're able to go support some of these games that may not have been supported. But that's the fear that these people have. It's like they have to earn your dollars now, right? Like they really have to make you say, I rather pay for this game that's not in my Game Pass and just enjoy the games I have in Game Pass, right? And that's where a lot of these people are upset. But over here, when as gamers, no, we're eating great. And for every time Xbox gets another acquisition, every time they go ahead and start up a new studio or buy a new studio, whatever it is, we're getting more. And that's all we can ask for, man.
And as a
That's all we
consumer,
can ask for.
that's literally all you can ask for. Got to remember, folks, the console wars are over. This has now turned into the content wars. And one of the most amazing things, and look, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm an part of the old guard, right? My way is put nothing anywhere but the platform. But that's not the way big business works. So I've had to come to the realization that even though some games will go over there, and I have limits, I have lines that should
Yeah, I don't
not be
think
crossed.
not all games are going. They have enough.
Right.
That's why
They have, yes.
honestly, that is why they are buying,
Yes.
right? Because the more they buy, the less that they have to take the things that are, are legacy games to Xbox, right? The things that
Halo,
really
Gears,
matter.
Forza,
Yep,
Fable.
the less that becomes a thing, right?
Right.
I mean, we already saw that even indie spooked them, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that announcing that indie was going to PS5 next year, it spooked them, right? It caused them to say they're gonna slow down a little bit because even though indie's not their IP and it makes sense that it was always going to be multi-platform to begin with, and they just managed to get a time exclusive when they renegotiated with Disney. The fact is that it did affect a lot of people who were looking at it, right? So they don't want that type of heat, right? Like, always remember, unless we hear otherwise, Phil came out and told us that he's down to put anything and everything over there as long as it does not negatively affect the brand, as long as it does not hurt the brand. And we know that sentiment is what they hold true to, because we heard much later a separate report where Matt Booty, after those games came out, after those 4 games went, he did go ahead and say that, listen, this didn't damage the brand, but it did strain the brand, right? So he acknowledged what Phil had said prior, that if it hurts the brand, we're not doing it. And I think indie, at the moment that it happened, indie, when it got announced, hurt the brand a little bit, because people were in their feels about it and really thought that that game wasn't going to go anywhere. So I think that is something that we got the reports that actually from your boy Ecstasy, that
They slow
they
down.
were slowing it
They pump the
down,
brakes.
not
Yeah.
stopping it completely, but they're slowing it down, and they're going to make sure that they choose wisely, right, of what goes and what doesn't go. And at the end of the day, they're going to do what's right for the brand. And again, on Xbox side, because of Game Pass, what's right for the brand is right for us. If they're doing it right, that means they're moving forward. That means they're making more money. That means they invest more in our Game Pass, right? That's the end all be all for us, right? If they're doing that, then we're getting more. And as gamers, that's all we can ask for. And that's all I'm going to ask for. That's all I want. There's more games in my Game Pass.
Right. Well, you're a consumer first, right? And
Facts.
the more that, and again, it's a great point. The more that they acquire, even though a lot of people don't like the whole consolidation thing, I get it. Unfortunately, when there's consolidation, there's redundancies. When there are redundancies, there are layoffs. And I listen, folks. You know how I feel about it. I've advocated for the layoffs to stop. I've talked about it. Many people don't even take the time to acknowledge that these studio closures happen. We do it here because there are people, actual humans, that make these games, that some of the games that know and love, and they're out of a job in 2024. That is, listen, in 2024, I'm not an analyst. Just go look at the receipt that next time you go to your local supermarket, you're paying more and getting way less. So if you're doing that as someone that has a job, imagine when you don't have a job, how difficult that is, right? So that's why we talk about it here, because it is a conversation that I enjoy having because I don't ever take for granted someone losing their job. I don't
Now you did
dance.
you did see the difference, right? You did see the difference in the reporting when Phil sent the
Oh,
email to
dude.
his people. He said, "Hey, they're gonna get severance. We're gonna give them everything they need." Blah 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 blah. Homeboys over at PlayStation, they were like, "We're gonna help some of them,
Yeah.
see if they can stick around somewhere else." But that's it. Thank you. Good day.
Yeah.
No mention of severance. No mention of taking care of them. No, none of that. Right? It's a different world we live in, man. It's a different
Yeah.
world we live in. But at the end of the day, man, like, look, all that stuff is true and fine. And because we follow the industry closely, you may feel more for these people, right? But at the end of the day, there's no difference between this and when Amazon does their layoffs or any of these other people that we don't follow those industries, so we don't come around and make posts about or have these big conversations about, right? Like at the end of the day, we always have to keep in mind that business is business, right? Let me tell you something. If you lost your job today and put a video out, right, and you talk about how you love Redfall is your favorite game ever, okay, those people who made that game are not going to show up at your post saying, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry that you lost your job." They're not looking for you. They don't care, right? So this one directional situation, like that's like idolizing a celebrity and say, like they look at you as a bunch of people. You're not an individual to them, so they don't care about your personal trauma or pain. Yeah, as a human, you do, right? In general, oh, I heard this bad thing happened to this person. Oh, that sucks for them. But at the end of the day, like, come on, it is what it is, man. Everybody deals with the stuff. We got to stop villainizing these companies. Even like honestly, deadass, Sony didn't do anything wrong. They needed to cut that. Who would ever trust that company with more money
Well,
after giving them 400 million?
they lost
Gave them
that money's
400
gone, dude.
million and lost them
Yeah.
all. There's no recouping any of that. And I'm going to give you more. No, you're all walking. See you later. Peace out. Whatever happens, happens. But you already took too much from us, right? These businesses do what they have to do to stay afloat, right? I could tell you right now, if it comes between some company, some studios getting shut down and the overall platform going away, I'm sorry. See you later, studios. I need this
Yeah.
platform to stick around because this platform does something for me that I want. And that's all that matters, right? Everything else is all fake outrage. I don't care who the biggest people you see out there on Twitter, all those dudes and ladies who cap for this stuff so hard. Oh my God, I'm so devastated. I don't think I could play this game after
Yeah.
knowing what happened. Go get the come on, man.
Yeah. No,
Come
no.
on.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day,
It's all a
my
show. It's all a
my
show. It's actually more embarrassing because it's a show.
because it's fake.
It's
It's
pathetic. It's
fake.
fake. It's
That's
all
what it
fake.
is.
It's
That's what.
all fake. You think
Yeah.
you're putting up this front, right? Want to be a certain image so that maybe you get, free things from certain people, maybe new consoles
You're
or
not wrong.
whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? You got to put up this front and this image. I get it. That's the hustle. I respect everybody's hustle, right? You got to do what you got to do to make your money. Even with these, like the ponies that we make fun of, listen, we make fun of them, but they do what they got to do, right? They do what they got to do. Their people show up. It is what it is, right? I'm not going to knock somebody for doing what they want to do. If they want to play a game where they make up stuff and they lie and they do all this stuff, but look, everybody got to eat, right? The same people you're worried about, right? What's the difference between them and somebody who lost their job, right? They lost their job. They don't make money. They don't eat, right? Same thing with these dudes, right? Or dudettes.
You're not
However you
wrong.
gotta do, your
Yeah.
hustle is your hustle.
Yeah. Well,
It is
listen,
what it
ladies and
is.
gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out for an hour. So, but again, 65, 70 minutes the show is.
Yeah,
Hopefully
man.
you enjoyed the show enough to hit the like button. If you're finding the channel for the first time, please consider subscribing. If you want a positive, fun video, go check the last one I did. It did not get any engagement, which is fine. Like some videos you do and you get 10,000 views on a video as opposed to a podcast. I'm always shocked by that. All of the Marvel versus Capcom stuff that I did in the thousands. This one was the top 5 innovations that Xbox has done for the gaming industry. and it was a great conversation. I had that conversation
Nice.
with I Love Coffee and Jamie Moran, and it was phenomenal. Great points. And I put the video on. I'm like, oh yeah, this is a good video. This is fun. This is positive Xbox conversation. And no one bothered clicking on it. Again, if you want to hear
Positivity doesn't sell.
I know
man,
it's fine. It's again, not every video is going to hit, but again, if you missed out on yesterday's podcast, please go check it out. And more important, not yesterday's, Tuesday's Xbox Factor podcast. And of course, go check out the video. I think it's like 22 minutes. It's not really that long, but it does break down some of the things that Xbox has done, and they don't get credit for it. Like, they have done and pushed this industry so forward, and it's crazy that the things that they've done have made it better for consumers almost every time, and they get no credit for it, which is bonkers. So if you want to check out that video, it's up on there. It's obviously not under the live stuff. It's under the videos. But let me just catch up on Super Chats, and apologies, folks, for not reading it. I'm trying to do 3 things at once, and it's been one of those days. But Adidas 20 says, ginger ale and olives, stomping pony narratives, salute. So, of course, Adidas, thank you for the very generous $2 super chat. And, of course,
my homie's living his best life in Vegas right now.
He is, and he's, I did hear that he's going to be sending you a trio pack of olives so you can try black, green, and one of the other ones.
No, thank you. I'm good.
With
you really want to scare me for Halloween? Dress up as an olive. You know what I'm saying? like that lady. You know how that they show that clip of that lady who have like that irrational fear of olives, like the bottle is just there and she starts losing
that was
her
hilarious.
mind.
Someone actually,
I'm not that bad, guys. That's crazy. I just don't want to eat them.
Someone tagged you on that. I was like, oh my god.
I know. I'm not afraid of olives.
Literally running out of the studio. It was freaking hilarious. Generous friend of the program, Will Broke Boy Lewis, who's not really bad at Call of Duty, freaking pretty good actually, drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I think you mentioned this yesterday on yesterday's stream, Boom. Just imagine if Black Ops 6 is a launch title for the Switch 2 when it releases. Yeah,
100% gonna be.
I think it's gonna be. Honestly, I think they're working on that right now. And again, it's the Switch 2, so it's not going to look as good as the PS5 or the Xbox or, of course, the PC version. But
I don't know. They got DLSS, man.
They do
way better than the pisser.
Yeah, I mean,
look, the pisser, bro.
I'll put it this way. It's an audience that they have. Think about the last time a Call of Duty released on a Nintendo console was the Wii U. I think it was Call of Duty 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Black Ops.
Was it Black? Okay, so there you go. So it's been a minute.
Sure it was a Black
Ops. There is an audience there, and if they can hit as a launch title, holy crap!
It's 100%. 100% going to be a launch title. First of all, they are legally contracted and bound to release on that system. So they had to be already working on the version. They wouldn't have had it so far back. They were going to be making it at the same time. They're going to have access to the console from Nintendo. And it's going to drop. It's going to drop. It's going to be on whenever they show like their slate of games coming to the new console. It may not be the first time. They might just focus on the console and like a select first party game. But once they show like the normal games that are going to be coming to the Switch 2, it'll be there. It'll be in the first group of showings and it'll launch. It just makes so much sense. That's going to be the hottest moment for the Switch 2. Obviously, it's going to have a long tail, but you want to be there day one. Everybody who's picking up a new Switch is going to be picking up Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and that's going to be freaking huge. But let me continue with the super chats, and we will get everyone out of here. We have Day Reezy. Day, welcome back to the program. Great to see you here. He drops a very generous $2 super chat and says Call of Duty does phenomenal on Xbox. Ponies, Xbox is dead. And he's not wrong. Maxie Coleman, generous friend of the program, drops an outstanding $5 super chat. Maxie says, MS buys Bethesda, bigger launch ever. Microsoft buys Activision, biggest launch ever. Sony buys a studio, oh well.
Dead.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. MMac 22 54. Welcome to the back. It's always great to see you here.
Mac, what's
He
good,
has been a
fam?
channel member for 1 month. He says, sorry for the language boom, but the gaming media is just blows ass. You know what? They are. The gaming media is, you know what? Tune in tomorrow. Oh, I'll get to why you should tune in tomorrow if you want to win one of 10 $50 gift cards, because obviously we have something going on. But the topic that we're going to get into is based on something that John from Xbox Era put out a post regarding how the media treats Xbox first party. I wrote an original topic based on it, and it's really good. I really want to get into it tomorrow. It's going to be myself. It's going to be Fuzzy Belvedere. Silent Cypher's coming back to join us, as well as Korkenstein. So we should have a great show. An original. Well, it's an original written topic, but the topic comes from something that John put out after some of the things that's been going on, because obviously he's a part of the gaming media because Xbox Era has a website, so he's a part of it, and he made some really fantastic points. So we also have Will Broke Boy Lewis drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says, I still haven't seen anyone in the media outlet calling for PlayStation execs to come and explain the closing of studios and laying off employees. I mean, that's another phenomenal point. Where are the stories about get rid of Herman Hulst, fire Herman Hulst? Because remember, he was one of the people that approved this deal. He said in an interview that this game was so important, it was going to be their Star Wars. And well, where's Concord? It's canceled.
More important than Horizon.
More important than Horizon, if I'm not mistaken. So
that's 100%.
Yeah, where are the articles calling for his job? There are none. No one is even talking about it. It is yesterday's newspaper that they're now used in the box that your dog goes and uses the bathroom.
Nobody's crying.
No one's talking about it.
Nobody's saying, I don't know how I can play another PlayStation game after they did this.
Yeah. Nothing. Raiden Blade, who's been a channel member for 41 months. Dude, that is very kind of you. Thank you so much for the continued generosity. He says, in every closure or acquisition, if it's you have a marketing team, why do you need more? Also, if you waste money and not produce anything, you gotta go. I mean, that's business, man. That's just business. Shout out to Thanaros, generous friend of the program, is always in the chat. So Thanaros, brother, salute to you. Thank you very much for the very generous $10 super chat. In fact, he doesn't even say anything. He drops the 10 spot and just says, peace, I'm out. Thank you so much, Thanaros. And lastly, Will Broke Boy Lewis, that's what it was. You're absolutely correct. Now remember, he drops an additional $2 super chat and it says Call of Duty Ghosts was the last one on the Wii U. That you're absolutely correct. Yes, it was Call of Duty Ghosts, because I bought it. Yeah, I bought.
Ghosts on the Wii U.
Yeah, the Wii U, dude. The big Play School tablet in your hand. That had Call of Duty Ghosts, and it was awful, but I bought it anyway because I just buy games, but it is what it is. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out, having some laughs with us. Of course, I love doing the show with C. It's always a lot of fun when it's just me and him hanging out with you fine folks. It's Halloween. So, of course, before we do the outros, I do want to say this. And again, please, I'm never going to stop being a cop. It's Halloween. A lot of people are going to be off tomorrow because of Diwali, right? That's being celebrated and recognized here in New York. I don't know if in your state if it's going to be recognized. I know the kids are off from school. That means if the kids are off from school, then there's everyone. It's going to be like almost like a long weekend. I say all of that to say, if you're going to go out this evening and you're going to celebrate with friends, please do it responsibly. You can drink, you can smoke, you can do all of that. Do anything that your heart is content, but please do not get behind the wheel. Call an Uber, have your friend drive you, have a designated driver. I know it's boring. I know it's like, oh no, there's Mr. BoomStick XL being the good guy. I have been at more wrecks that I can never forget because of drinking and driving in 21 years. You do not want to be that person that kills someone. Not only are you going to ruin someone's life, you're going to ruin your own. And more importantly, because there are going to be so many kids out on the streets trick or treating, the last thing you want to do is mow down a family of four, because now you're responsible for taking their lives and you will go to jail, but that's still not going to bring these people back. So please, if you're going to go out and you're going to have fun, do it responsibly. You know, when you are intoxicated, do not get behind the wheel, even if you have a drink. Do not do it. Call for an Uber or have your friend or your loved one take the keys and get behind the wheel, please. But with all of that out of the way, let's sell the brand of On Point for Gamers. It's a website. I mean, it is a YouTube channel that is done by not only C Money, but his lovely wife, a Doodle. And obviously, they sometimes involve the kids. Listen, if you want pointed console war rhetoric and you don't mind the cursing, I think you should check it out because it's fun. They have a lot of fun, especially on Friday nights, where it's basically a slobber knocker with them and Hargeet Chani, who just go to town. It's listen, it's fun content. You don't take it seriously. It is what it is. If it's not your content, I hear you, but I think you should at least check it out. By all means, brother, sell the brand, because you guys have really been killing it with the reviews, like really well done reviews. And now you're getting you're getting the codes. And that's how you know you're doing the right thing, because Microsoft is sending you the codes, you're doing the reviews, and they're resending you other codes. So that's how you guys know you're on the right path. Sell the brand. Where can people check out and subscribe to On Point for Gamers? And more importantly, follow both you and Doodle on social media.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, obviously, Boom, thank you so much for having me, man. You know, I love doing the show, so definitely was a fun one, man. So thanks again. Obviously, catch me here Thursdays, 12 p.m. on X Vlog Live. But yeah, so on Twitter or X, you can follow me at C Money Forever. My wife is Doodle, and her name is Doodle to be free on Twitter. So you can definitely follow us there. We're not like super Twitter people, but you know, every once in a while we come out, and like recently we had a nice little fun time with the ponies. You know, it's a good time. It's always a good time. So definitely check us out there. Yeah, and we have a channel. It's called On Point for Gamers. We are a Xbox focused channel for sure. And you know, the way I like to say it is that we say the things that everybody is thinking but are too afraid to say. You know what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
So
There you
we
go.
don't listen. I know a lot of people don't like us because I feel like they're frustrated that we get to say the things, and they feel like if they said it, it wouldn't go down well. You know what I'm saying? So we don't give a shit. We don't care. We don't do this for our livelihood. We do it for fun. And that's what we do on our channel. So we come out and we have a good time. We have 4 shows a week that we do. We do have reviews that we do. We do have some previews that we do. It just depends. But yeah, so our first show is we start on Sunday. So Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, is our show Morning Quest with Doodle and C Money. It's me and my wife, and you know, we're just TTSing with the fam. You know, we hang out with the chat, you know, go through whatever topic we going through, and you know, just have a good time, man. We spend a lot of time with the chat, so it's very interactive, so it's very fun. And then on Tuesday nights we have Night Quest, which goes ahead and is similar to Morning Quest, except that we typically will have a guest. This past Tuesday we had 2 guests. I'm sorry, 3 guests technically. We had the homie Fuzzy Belvedere, we had our boy Hargishani, and we had our boy Pharaoh Bazard, who has his own gaming podcast on Monday nights. So that was a great show. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. We had a fun time. Obviously that's when we got the news. Actually there was a lot of news that dropped. Just go check it out. It was a fun show. And then we have Thursday nights which is our On Point Gaming podcast. Is the OG, is the one that started us off from the beginning. And that is with myself and Doodle, and it's more like our gaming news podcast where we have like a bunch of topics that we cover. And that's at 8 p.m. All of our night shows are at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then Friday nights we have the fun one, is the one that tends to go crazy.
The slobber knocker, if you will.
people in the chat getting loose. We're feeling good. It's called the Night Shift. Let's Talk Gaming. It's myself, Doodle, the homie Hargishani, and of course we have our boy Demo Flow Gaming who come around. So definitely come check us out for that, man. I did put the link in the chat. I'll drop it a few more times. It's just a fun time, man. We just have a good time. So, again, it's not child friendly. It's not child friendly. It's for the grown and sexy. All right. It's at 8 o'clock for a reason. It's bedtime. You know what I'm saying? Put the kiddies to bed and let's go have some fun. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good time. Come check us out. And man, thanks so much.
Real quick, shout out to Boss Mod Lethal Papa. Obviously, he keeps the chats.
Yes, sir.
He's an amazing part of the community and one of the best modders in the business. So shout out to Lethal Papa for always, keeping these things. So again, listen, you can be a PlayStation guy
at night. You know what I'm saying?
You could be a PlayStation guy or gal, and that's fine. But there's some people that come in and just mean. And he keeps them away, which is why the chat is one of the best in the business. And that's thanks to his tireless work. Other piece of information, if you've noticed, I have not been doing the commercial for the Volare gaming pillow. Not because we're not working with them, because I was waiting for my branded pillow. The double barrel gaming pillow is done. They got so
nice.
It's going to be there. They've sent it to me. I'm going to be having hands-on pillow in the next week or so. And once I get it, I'll show it to you. It looks so freaking good. I cannot believe how they were able to design this. And also, I'm going to be working with them exclusively because they have teamed up with Bethesda to bring Bethesda-themed pillows. I mean, that means Starfield.
Nice.
That means Fallout. That means all of their IPs. They're going to be working with them. So once they have those ready to rock and roll, I'll be able to give up some more information. But the double barrel gaming exclusive double barrel gaming pillow for Volare is going to be. I'm going to get it in the next week, and I will show it live on the air. And of course, we will start doing the commercial, and you can save 20% off your order, which is fantastic. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here on XVlog Live. Thank you so much for checking us out. Hopefully you enjoyed it and enjoyed the conversation enough to subscribe and hit the like button. Big thank you to all of the super chats and the channel member chats that continue to come in. We appreciate it. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Mrs. Boom's 4th annual birthday bash. We're giving away 10 $50 gift cards to everyone that shows up. The first 5 go to channel members. The second 5 goes to anyone in the chat who puts in the hashtag, which I'll give in the morning. And if the picker from StreamYards picks you won. So please tune in for that. That's, again, live 10 a.m. tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. Mrs. Boom's 4th annual birthday bash. And, of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day, folks, will be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of XVlog Live.
Happy holidays.